It's David Wowee here with another super member exclusive video for you. Inimical Travelers Curse. I hate this thing. Some people say the Icefields Master is the hardest boss or Warp Deus is the hardest boss, but to me, I spent the most time getting frustrated over Inimical Travelers Curse. So personally, this is the hardest boss in the game so far. But if you want to Stellar Awaken one of your remaining Octopath characters, plus get a 50 Chrono Stone reward, you need to beat this thing. Here's how I beat it, and here's who I used. By the way, this isn't my unique strategy. Best Boy gave me tips, Isaiah gave me some tips during a stream, and I watched a whole lot of other YouTube videos to find a strategy that works best with my playstyle. So thanks to everyone who helped me directly and indirectly. But you know what, to be honest, if you want the quickest and easiest way to beat Inimical Travelers Curse, just wait 6 months, bro. Super power crap characters will come out, then you'll be able to beat it easily within a few turns. But if you like the pain like me, here's my guide. There'll be two versions of this fight in this video. The first version has me narrating in the background to explain everything, so once you've had a listen to my guide, you can then watch the battle again later in this vid that doesn't have my beautiful, beautiful voice. You unlock Inimical Travelers Curse after completing the Octopath Conductor's Symphony. Return to where you fought the final boss and he'll be back stronger than ever. But before you go out and fight, there are a few huge things you need to know. The first is you can only beat it with specific element types during certain turns. And if you accidentally hit it using the wrong element, its shield and HP resets and you have to do everything all over again. And the worst part is it'll become stronger and you'll become weaker, making the boss harder and harder to beat. So for the first turn, you can only beat it using fire elemental attacks. What you need to do first is to get its shield counter down from 10 to 0 using only fire attacks. As I mentioned, if you don't use fire elemental attacks, it resets the counter. Elemental attacks from sidekicks like Tetra's Thunder Attack don't seem to matter though, so I got away with it, seems fine. Once the counter reaches 0, you'll be put into another force. This is your chance to use another force to get the boss's health down to 0. If you don't get to 0, you have to start again. If you have to start again, it seems to retain the damage you've dealt unless you screw up and use a non-fire attack and it heals all over again. I highly recommend though that you do what you can to beat it right away during this another force, because as I mentioned, it seems to get stronger and you get weaker over time. So if you're successful in this another force and you beat it with the fire element, you have to do the same thing again with the water element and then thunder element, and then finally with either fire, water or thunder. So that's 4 successful turns of beating it to 0. So it's clear they've designed this boss so you can use the Octopath characters, especially Cyrus Albright, because Cyrus can activate water, fire and thundering zones. The problem is, although it's still possible and there's proof everywhere that you can do it, it can be much harder using the Octopath characters. So from this, we now know we need characters that can deal multiple hits to get Inimical Travelers Curse shield counter to 0. Not only that, we need that character or a suite of different characters who can do that according to the 3 specific elements: fire, water or thunder. Not only that, they need to be an awesome damage dealer, because if you want the best chance of beating this boss, you should ideally beat it within that brief instant when another force becomes activated. I'll get back to talking about my team soon, because there are a few other important things you need to know about this boss. The boss does a few random things that are beyond your control. For example, I was successful in this turn, but I completely failed my previous turn, even if I had the exact team and strategy. This is because its attack has the ability to instant kill a team member because of a high damage shade attack. And if it knocked out Iffy, my main reviver, on turn 1, I was completely stuffed. The boss also inflicts a number of other super annoying attacks. From turn 2 onwards, it can use the skill called Extermination Hex, which inflicts knockback on one of your team. So you need to have someone on the team available that can activate knockback immunity. In my case, I used Iffy and the skill Nocturnal Procession. Nocturnal Procession was also useful as a buff that increased everyone's power, intelligence and speed by 50%. Just to be even more annoying, the boss can inflict Lamenting Hex, which inflicts blind on your team, as well as Ruination Hex, which is the worst because it inflicts 3000 HP fixed damage, as well as Pain with 2000 HP fixed damage also. To counter this, I had Tetra as my sidekick because of its healing and restoration skills. As I hinted at earlier, the boss also has a skill called Wither Hex, which reduces your power, speed and intelligence. So the best way to counter this is to beat the boss as quickly as possible before you become too weak. So in summary, we have a super boss who can deal insane damage, inflict pain, knockback and blind, can reduce your power, intelligence and speed, and on top of that, if you don't hit it according to specific elements, it will completely heal itself and make your life a miserable existence. Oh, did I mention he has a skill called Dark Mood, which does 100% fixed MP damage to one of your teammates? So how do you combat all this annoying crap? First, I built a team around a decent damage dealer who can do multiple hits at once. This way, their multiple hits can reduce the boss's shield counter to 0, and when another force came, they would be strong enough to obliterate it. So in this case, I chose Yakumo. But Yakumo is a shade unit. How do you make him change his element? I use two characters. First, I use Aisha to activate Raging Fire Stance. Then the next part of this recipe is to find someone with Kaleido. Here I used Nekoko Another Style. Her skill, Scintillant Spirit, gives everyone a decent damage buff, and most importantly, it changes the attack type of all enemies and allies to match the current elemental zone. In this case, Aisha activated Raging Fire Stance, so everyone in the team's attack type becomes fire type, including Yakumo's. So in this fight, I primarily had Yakumo use two skills: Karma to buff himself up and restore his MP, and then Deletion to seriously hurt the boss and deal multiple hits to reduce its shield counter. When Yakumo's MP starts to look too low, I'd use the skill Karma and bring in Kumos to top him up. Kumos also helps when the boss does Dark Mood and drains someone of their MP. Also, because this boss deals such high damage, I use turn 1 to debuff it and weaken it. This is important because sometimes you may find yourself getting completely owned by the end of turn 1 if you don't do this. So in turn 1, I had Nekoko AS use Cat Deity Guardian to increase everyone's defense, and Iffy used Rosa Liliac to completely weaken the boss. Then during each another force phase or when I was changing element, I had these characters use these skills again to refresh these buffs and debuffs. Once Yakumo is able to beat the first round of this boss, I had Aisha activate Sacred Water Stance, so Yakumo's attacks became water based. After the second phase was successful, I swapped Aisha with Orleia to activate Thundering Stance, and then repeated the process of Yakumo getting the boss's shield down to 0 and then blasting it away with Deletion when another force is activated. In the final turn, when the boss is weak against fire, water or thunder, I stayed at using thunder and did the same thing to finally beat it. But even with a solid strategy, a lot of luck is needed to get this right, so good luck. Keep watching for my Grasta and equipment setup.
Disappear! You're fired! You idiot! Die! You idiot!
Gone!
You're fired!
Squeal like the whelps you are!
Disappear!
Squeal like the whelps you are. Begone! What? Meow!
Disappear! Die! You're fired!
Got ya.
Crush!
Sing out in the key of life.
You're done!
What? Got ya.
Get bent. Die! 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 Ugh.
How's this?
Crush! Get fired!
Be gone! Squeal like the whelps you are! I swear on my axe, none shall perish.
You're done! Die! Disappear!
Got you!
You're fired! You idiot! Die! You idiot!
Be gone!
You're fired!
Squeal like the whelps you are!
Move! Crush! You're done! You're fired! Crush! You're fired! Crush! You idiot! Disappear!
Squeal like the whelps you are.